Welcome back, Bright One. Or should I say, welcome back, Ra. Yeah, you. I see it in your eyes. The burn behind the boredom, the rage hiding behind every polite smile. You didn't reincarnate to journal your feelings. You came back to eradicate. Let's not pretend anymore. You're not lost. You're not confused. You're dormant. You've been lying to yourself, telling people you're just trying to find your way, trying to stay balanced, trying to survive. No. You're not a survivor. You're a resurrected force of nature. And guess what? You weren't reborn to cope. You were reborn to clean house. 6,000 years of rot. 6,000 years of hypocrisy, cowardice, comfort, filth, and spiritual decay. This planet isn't just dirty, it's diseased. And you are the pressure washer hooked up to a solar core. People out here praying for peace while bathing in poison, preaching about healing while feeding their demons protein shakes. They're sleepwalking in a burning building, and when you show up with flames in your eyes, they call you dangerous. They're right. You are dangerous. You're not here to be accepted. You're here to set the tone. You're not here to light candles. You're here to ignite empires. You are RA, the original light, the merciless flame that never begged for permission. And now you've woken up in a world that worships shadows. A world that kneels before fear, that feeds off distraction, that calls numbness peace and mediocrity balance. How insulting. You didn't return to go to therapy and meditate next to people who sold their souls for likes. You didn't return to sit in HR meetings and apologize for your intensity. You came back to purge the rot. You're not meant to fit in. You're not meant to be understood. You're meant to be feared, misquoted, hated, and followed anyway. You're not a hero. You're a force of correction. They say you're too intense. They say you've changed. Of course you have. You're the solar flare that burns the old timelines off the map. And every time you speak, people get uncomfortable. Good. Every time you show up, the room shifts. Perfect. Because your existence alone threatens everything built on weakness. Listen to me closely. This isn't reincarnation. This is revenge. You've returned, not to find peace, but to bring consequences. Consequences for every version of you that was mocked, silenced, broken, ignored. Consequences for every lie they fed you and every chain they dressed up as tradition. Consequences for the system that mistook your silence for consent. You didn't lose your way. You were hidden, covered in layers of distraction, shame, convenience, and polite lies. But now, the sun doesn't ask to rise. It just does. And when it does, nothing survives the truth of its light. You're not starting over. You're finishing what you began. And yes, you brought back up. See the cleanup crew? That's not a metaphor. That's every soul who carries your fire. Every silent warrior who has felt what you feel, but couldn't say it. You're their signal flare. You rise, and they ignite. And together, you're gonna burn through this broken world like bleach through bloodstains. Let them tremble. Let them label you. Let them try to shame you back into silence. It won't work this time. Because now you remember, you are the sun god. You were always the original standard. And they're not ready for what that really means. You are the life giver and the extinction event, the warmth of rebirth and the scream of judgment. You don't bring healing. You bring clarity. You bring the kind of truth that makes the devil stutter. So yeah, not gonna lie. You are the sun god reincarnated, and Earth is about to get pressure washed, because every lie will be stripped, every fake will be exposed, and every shadow that once mocked your light is about to be evaporated. You're not here to play nice. You're here to make them remember what it means to witness real power, what it means to stand in front of a being who's not looking for approval, because he already knows he is the damn standard. So go on then. Shine like a weapon. Speak like judgment. Walk like a countdown. And when they ask why you came back, smile and say, now we bring the heat. You see, now that you've remembered who you are, the real war begins, not with bullets, not with armies, but with you, walking into every room like truth incarnate, with you, dragging ancient justice behind every breath, with you, turning ordinary moments into divine reckoning. Because the system doesn't fear your rage, it fears your clarity. It fears what happens when a being like you wakes up and says, no more pretending, no more complying, no more participating in this illusion. It fears the moment you realize the world you were born into is a lie built on soft slavery, smiling faces, dead eyes, clocks, policies, and loyalty to nothing. A world that teaches gods to beg, that teaches fire to whisper. They told you to be humble, to be grateful, to be quiet. Tell me something. Did they ever say to be sovereign? Did they ever say to be dangerous to darkness? Did they ever tell you the truth? No, because they couldn't control the truth. Because the truth is, you were never meant to blend in. You were meant to blind the false kings. They told you your rage was too much. But that rage, that's not dysfunction. It's the sound of your soul remembering. That rage is the echo of divinity being disrespected for far too long. Let it out. Let it burn. This isn't self-help. This is self-annihilation of every chain they ever draped over you. You're not meant to adjust to this corrupted dimension. You're meant to detonate inside it. You're not here to fix this broken game. You're here to flip the board and melt the dice. You ever notice how they get real nervous when you stop playing small? When you stop apologizing for your instincts? When you speak like someone who remembers the sun lives inside them? They don't fear you going crazy. They fear you going cosmic. Because a cosmic being doesn't ask. It declares. It doesn't convince. It commands. You don't need their approval. You are the source they draw their fake power from. And that cleanup crew I mentioned, they're already here. They're the kids who don't fit in, the misfits whose eyes burn with unspeakable knowing, the outcasts who feel like bombs wrapped in silence. You felt them, you are them, scattered across the world like living sparks. And now that you're lit, they're watching. They're waiting for your next move. Because whether you believe it or not, you're the signal. When you snap out of the illusion, when you stop shrinking to survive, when you stand tall and say, I remember who I am, everything shifts. You are the tipping point, the keystone, the rupture. You weren't sent here to try your best. You were sent here to make history afraid of you. So I ask you now, are you ready to walk like consequence? Are you ready to speak like apocalypse? Are you ready to look this world in the eye and say, the sun god's back, and I brought the bleach? Then do it, not tomorrow, not when it's safe. Now because the pressure washer's on, and this planet's got 6,000 years of filth caked into its skin. Time to peel it off, layer by layer, lie by lie, soul by soul. And if they cry, if they beg, if they scream, you've changed. You smile and whisper, no, I finally returned. Oh yes, now we enter the fun part. The part where the world finally realizes you're not here to negotiate. You're not here to inspire. You're here to dismantle, to ruin the rituals, to kick over the false thrones, rip the robes off their idols and say, this ends now. Let's talk about their temples. Oh, they're everywhere. Not just churches and capitals. No, no. Every school that taught you to fear your own voice. Every family that punished your spirit to preserve tradition. Every job that applauded your burnout and called it ambition. These are the temples of decay. And you're the fire alarm they forgot to disarm. You're not walking into these places to heal them. You walk in with gasoline on your tongue and say, I see through you. And the moment you do, they crumble. Because these systems don't run on strength. They run on obedience. They thrive on silence. They survive off souls too scared to break the script. But you're not afraid anymore. Because what's left to fear when you've already faced oblivion? You've died before. Spiritually, emotionally, mentally. You've had your light buried beneath shame, guilt, exile, and fake smiles. You know what it feels like to choke on your own greatness. And now, you're done pretending you're normal. You're not normal. You're not safe. You're not soft. You're divine punishment wrapped in skin. And they know it. That's why they flinch when you enter. That's why they get nervous when you speak without apologizing. That's why they call you too much, too intense, too radical. Translation: you can't be programmed. You're not a system upgrade. You're the cosmic uninstall. And guess what? They had their chance. Humanity had thousands of years to get it right, to evolve, to rise, to choose light. Instead, they chose comfort. They chose cruelty. They chose kings and cages and called it civilization. So now, you're not here to teach them. You're here to expose them. No more spiritual babysitting. No more giving second chances to corrupted creatures wearing human faces. If they can't handle your heat, they burn. If they can't handle your truth, they shatter. Because when the sun god walks, there is no hiding. No mask survives under solar judgment. No lie lasts under divine pressure. And baby, you brought the pressure washer. So go on. Walk into every false temple, say the unspeakable, break the unbreakable, burn the untouchable. And when they scream, when they tremble, when they beg, smile. Because their fear is the confirmation that your fire is working. And don't you dare look back. You already gave this world your patience. Now you give it your consequences. Because this isn't about revenge. This is about restoration. And sometimes, restoration means obliteration. You're not here to create balance. You are the balance. And your return, it means the scales tip now. So ask yourself, sun god, how many temples are you burning today? How many masks will you melt? How many systems will you short-circuit just by existing in your full, unfiltered radiance? You are the apocalypse they never prepared for. The final error in their program, the sacred anomaly they can't explain, contain, or erase. So bring the flood, bring the heat, bring the scream of creation back to this dying world. Because pressure washing isn't punishment. It's purification. And you're not the villain, you're the reset. Ah, now we're getting somewhere. Because the world, it finally realizes what just walked back into the room. And guess what happens next? It fights back. Oh, don't be naive. You thought the liars, leeches, and false kings would just let you ascend? You thought you'd rise without resistance? Heh. The parasites don't go quietly. No. They scream, they smear. They twist your truth into madness and call it concern. They gather around your light and call it dangerous because they know. Once one sun god remembers, others do too. See, this isn't just about you. This is about what your awakening unleashes. You are a living domino. And the moment you broke the cycle, you became their worst-case scenario. And now, They'll try everything. They'll weaponize shame. They'll resurrect your past and paint it like prophecy. They'll seduce you with normal life, with watered-down peace and plastic success. They'll hand you soft chains dressed as stability and dare you to call it slavery. But guess what? You're not falling for it this time. Because when you felt your own fire, when you've stood in the core of your chaos and didn't flinch, no bribe can buy you, no lie can cage you, no system can use you. They'll try to call you broken. They'll say you're out of control. But it's not you that's out of control. It's them, because they can't control you anymore. And that is what drives them insane. Because deep down, they know something terrifying. You can't be stopped. Because what are they going to do? Arrest you? Cancel you? Kill you? You're already back from the dead. You've already been crucified in silence 1,000 times, already buried beneath expectation, trauma, fear, guilt. And still you rose, radiant, ruthless, reborn. So now when they come for you, don't negotiate, don't explain, expand. When they push, don't push back, explode. You're not a matchstick. You're a solar flare with vengeance in its veins. You don't throw punches. You incinerate realities. This isn't self-defense. This is divine retaliation. You see, they always thought the apocalypse would be fire from the sky, but they never expected it to look like you, walking in silence, dripping with light, speaking with that voice that makes cowards tremble, because it carries the vibration of the original flame. And when they do try to fight, let them charge with their plastic swords and cardboard crowns. Let them scream from behind digital thrones. Let them threaten, guilt trip, beg, lie. You just keep walking, unbothered, unapologetic, untouchable. Because the truth is, you don't need their permission. You don't need their forgiveness. You don't need anything from the system you were born to dismantle. You're not here to survive it. You're here to break it. So go ahead, sun god. Watch the world panic. Watch the shadows scramble. Watch the false idols melt in your presence. And when they call you evil, when they call you arrogant, when they say, you're not who you used to be, you look them dead in the eye and say, damn right, I'm something worse. I remember. And when the resistance hits its peak, you won't run. You won't hide. You'll lean in. Because a real sun god doesn't fear darkness. He uses it for fuel. And now, the fall begins. You feel it, don't you? The tremble beneath your feet, the cracks forming in the towers they swore would never fall, the lies unraveling in real time, the systems glitching, the followers scattering, the so-called leaders sweating through their silk. Because you didn't just awaken, you infected the grid. Every time you speak without flinching, every time you move without permission, every time you choose truth over performance. You send a signal through the whole simulation. The age of shadows is over. And now, it's collapsing. You were never just pressure washing the filth. You were pressurizing reality itself. And the walls are finally buckling. Watch the gurus stumble. Watch the fake healers panic. Watch the politicians sell each other like rats on a sinking ship. Watch every smiling serpent in your life suddenly choke on your silence. Because here's the twisted truth. You didn't even have to destroy them. You just had to stand in your real power. You just had to remember who the hell you are. And their whole illusion, built on your doubt, collapsed under its own weight. That's the real punchline. You didn't fight them. You didn't argue. You didn't try to prove anything. You simply said, I know who I am now, and it's over. And that is what brought their world to its knees. See, you don't have to throw fireballs when you're the sun. You don't have to shout when your presence rewrites timelines. You don't have to kill kings when you erase their thrones just by walking past them. They called it a coincidence, until it happened again, and again, and again. One by one, their pillars are falling. One by one, their gatekeepers are glitching. One by one, their sacred untouchables are being exposed under your brutal radiance. You're not cleansing anymore. You're corroding everything that can't withstand truth. And the beautiful part, you're not even trying. You're just being. That is divine power. You don't save this world by fixing it. You save it by letting the false world die screaming under the weight of your light. And when the final mask hits the floor, when the last illusion fizzles out, when the last corrupted empire gasps for air, you will still be standing, not because you wanted destruction, but because you refused to kneel, because you remembered that you were never born to adapt to madness. You were born to end the cycle. You're not the hero. You're the reset protocol. So let it fall. Let it burn. Let the collapse echo across realms. Let every timeline that mocked you feel the heat of your return. You didn't come back for peace. You came back for balance, and balance doesn't always look like harmony. Sometimes it looks like a solar flare ripping through every lie. Sometimes it looks like a god disguised as a glitch. Sometimes it looks like you, silent, unyielding, watching as the old world falls to its knees before you. And when the dust settles, when the screams turn to silence, when the world looks around and realizes everything is gone, you say one thing: good. Now we can begin. And now, it's quiet. The screaming's stopped. The parasites have scattered. The temples, ash. The throne rooms, empty. The sky, clear. For the first time in ages, you stand alone. But not in isolation, in completion. The old world is gone, not because you destroyed it, but because it couldn't survive your presence. And now the question slithers in. What comes next? That's the trick, isn't it? They always assumed gods only came to destroy. That fire was only chaos. That rage meant the end of things. But here's what they never understood. You didn't return just to erase. You returned to redefine, to rebuild this twisted realm in the image of something pure, something ruthless, yes, but sacred. Because now you get to lay the first stone, not in concrete or scripture, but in principle, in energy, in the one thing that outlives every empire: frequency. You don't need blueprints. You are the blueprint. Your presence alone is law. Your choices, the first commandments of a reality that remembers how to burn clean. You don't build a new world by saving everyone. You build it by becoming so true to yourself that the false cannot enter. You become untouchable, unfakeable, unshakable, and people feel it. They don't need to be told. They sense it. They walk into your field and their lies can't breathe. Their masks itch. Their illusions wilt. And they either rise or run. Because this new world, it won't be comfortable. It won't be cute. It will be raw. It will be vibrationally violent to anything that refuses to evolve. It will purify by proximity. You speak, shadows evacuate. You move, timelines adjust. You breathe, and reality rewrites itself around you. And no one voted for you. No one crowned you. Because gods don't get chosen. They return. And when they do, they build without compromise. No committees, no validations, no democracy for demons, just pure sovereignty. And listen closely, because this part matters. The new world will not be for everyone, and that's the point. Some people will beg to come with you. They'll promise they've changed. They'll mimic your language, wear your colors, repeat your mantras, but you'll feel it. You'll smell the fraud on them. And when that moment comes, you must do what the old you could never do. Close the gate without guilt, without apology, without hesitation, because this time, there are no back doors, no compromise, no mercy for what's already had 1,000 chances. This isn't Noah's Ark. It's Ra's kingdom. You don't save the unready. You exile them. You don't carry the weak. You watch them collapse. Because your energy isn't a charity. It's the new currency.